Welcome everyone to 284 News. My name is Javon Wilson.
I'm Kamal Haynes.
And I'm Ron Grant.
And we are so thrilled and happy to be coming to you live out of the beautiful British Virgin Islands. The content continues via our website, 284media.com.
In today's news, BVI Nightclubs to reopen to fully vaccinated patrons only as well as staff.
And a male rescued by police from attempted suicide identified as patient with mental illness, and police says 6 more incidents occurred.
Some 234 persons vaccinated within the BVI USVI initiative.
And the BVI Basketball Federation to take disciplinary actions following a physical dispute during the game over the weekend, and also the BVI government not picking on any bars in the territory. And this is according to Minister Malone. We get to these stories when 284 News returns.
You value traditions. Today, you value music. You value education. Family.
I love you.
Service.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Love. Life. At Popular, we're committed to you and everything our community values. For the things you value the most, count on us. Popular.
Well, welcome everyone. It's Monday, September 20th, 2021. I'm Kamal Haynes.
And I'm Ron Grant. We're coming to you live and direct from the beautiful British Virgin Islands. From Joss Van Dyke to Anegada, Tortola, and Virgin Gorda, we got you covered. A happy Monday to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for joining us. Before we get into our newscasters, touching on some headlines, Wheatley, that's Vincent Wheatley, the Honorable Vincent Wheatley, that is, denies being overly penal to work permit holders. The COI is said to be eroding the electorate's confidence in government. Believe it or not, says local commentator Mr. Claude Skelton-Klein, and Premier gives COI conflicting reasons for board members' removal. In addition, a man jumps into the sea at the Rotown dock in suspected suicide attempt. We're going to have more of that later on in our newscast. 2 wanted persons have been arrested following a raid by the Joint Task Force on Virgin Gorda, and a young man found unresponsive at Slaney Hill home. Investigations are ongoing in that matter. Now, beginning on the local scene here in the British Virgin Islands, the government of the Virgin Islands has turned vaccine passes in an effort to allow for the reopening of nightclubs here in the British Virgin Islands. This is, of course, according to a new cabinet-approved policy that mandates staff and patrons receive the COVID-19 jab before business resumes, effective September 16th, 2021. Now, the revised public health and suppression order laid out the following in respect to nightclubs and entertainment centers, also known as strip clubs. It is that all working at the nightclubs or entertainment centers shall be fully vaccinated. All patrons in a nightclub or an entertainment center shall be fully vaccinated and shall provide proof thereof. The businesses will be only allowed to reopen under the specified conditions, and local entertainment clubs have been dealing, as we know, viewers, with a stop and starts on the reopening throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. Acting Chief Medical Officer Dr. Ronald Georges previously highlighted that this detection of fraudulent vaccination cards locally have been identified. Now, while the business owners have been calling for a quick reopening, it remains unclear exactly how staff will be able to validate the vaccination cards that are provided. In addition to that, we look at the curfew as it pertains to the curfew order. The curfew for the territory of the Virgin Islands is now from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. daily. This new curfew order is for the next 2 weeks within the first instance. Kamal, we see a new move by the government of the Virgin Islands, the Foy-led administration, to mandate that persons within that industry, nightclubs, and we're also, surprisingly, I want to highlight this, to be honest with you, we're seeing now where our legislators are actually terming strip clubs, and this is something that has been cause for concern within our local economy, because when persons are getting a work permit, it's either a bartender or waitress. Now we see where many of the local representatives are now calling strip clubs as what they are. Never before have we seen where the term strip clubs in the territory has been mandated necessarily, and I think that has come because the definition of entertainment centers has been questioned by local residents as to what exactly is an entertainment center. And we see where government officials now, believe it or not, are designating strip clubs under the entertainment center, despite the fact that prostitution or work thereof in the territory is still prohibited.
Well, Ron, I totally understand your point of view regarding that. I know, obviously, using the wider terminology of entertainment centers, what it does is it incorporates what I guess a strip club could facilitate.
Yes.
To my knowledge, I know within a strip club, obviously, we don't know what happens in the strip club, but in terms of
I think you and I know exactly what happens in the
But in terms of the strip club, you know, it's dancing, you know, is selling of alcohol, which is all legal in terms of from that standpoint.
Right.
Any other thing basically is not the concern of the government in terms of
right.
when it comes to legislating stuff.
Well said.
Well, viewers, moving on with a male who was rescued by police officers over the weekend from what appeared to be a suicide attempt in the waters adjacent to the Road Ferry Terminal has been identified as a 20-year-old who suffers from mental illness. Well, this was confirmed in a media release from the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force on Monday, September 20th, which said the male is a patient of the behavioral ward of the Dr. D. Orlando Smith Hospital and is presently being treated. What the release said, and I quote, Sunday morning, officers of the Marine Unit and Beat and Patrol responded to a report from hospital personnel that a 20-year-old had escaped from the ward and thrown himself into the water near the terminal. Upon arrival, police observed the male close to 100 feet out, floating face down. While two officers entered the water and with the help of the police vessel Swift Justice, pulled the male from the water. Well, CPR was administered and he was revived. But the ambulance was summoned and he was transported to the Dr. D. Orlando Smith Hospital, end quote. But the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force further revealed that there were 6 additional incidents during that week involving persons with mental health illnesses. Well, according to the force, of those 6, one mother in Virgin Gorda asked for police assistance in calming her mentally ill adult son after making threats of violence. In addition, a woman was taken to the behavioral ward after she was reported missing and then found outside her residence naked in Purcell Estate. Well, in a separate incident, officers were summoned after a 13-year-old who had previously assessed, who was previously assessed and threatened to commit suicide and kill members of his household. But with a spike in the number of reported incidents involving persons with mental illness, Acting Commissioner of Police Jacqueline Vanterpool is again appealing to family members to get assistance ahead of any crisis, especially when an appointment with a mental health practitioner is missed. She said, and I quote, "In all engagements, maintaining calm surroundings even with high stress levels is a must. But choose the words you use carefully. But this is practically important advice for those who live with and care for the mentally ill. Well, it is important that caregivers are sensitive and responsive to the signs ahead of the crisis and get the necessary help," end quote. Well, family members needing assistance or an initial mental health assessment can contact the mental health unit at 852-7675 or the psychosocial hotline at 541-2383. Around here again, we see yet another incident here. First and foremost, we have to congratulate those officers of the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force for being so brave and, you know, obviously doing their duty, you know, diving probably head first into the water and reviving this young gentleman. I hope he does recover well, and I hope his family, you know, helps to support him and get him where he needs to be. We also have to look at the fact that this is very concerning, considering that this is the second press release from the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force where there have been incidents of increased mental health incidents that they would have been warranted of some form of a response, you know, obviously to some form of activity, whether criminal or potentially criminal. And during my interview the week before, when I spoke to the Commissioner of Police, he would have said that that is a gap in the territory that needs to be filled in terms of being able to deal with these persons from a law enforcement perspective, and he's actually planning on putting measures in place to get this situation resolved. And I know a lot of persons, especially now with the COVID situation, it's very difficult for some families, especially when income is not there like before, to be able to have the necessary resources to be able to deal with these mental health illness children and daughters and family members. And I really appeal for those who can assist and help with these persons to really reach out and help in those cases.
Kamal well said, and I do appreciate the acting police commissioner, Jacqueline Vantaboo, for making a plea to the community. I think when we look at mental health awareness in the territory of the Virgin Islands, we first have to look at our response as a territory. Similar to education, are we taking mental health seriously enough? And as a community, how to respond to persons within our community with mental health issues? And I think once we begin to look at that holistically, how we interact, whether or not persons, family members particularly, want to seek help and are willing to seek help, I think that we're going to get to a point, I hope that we get to a point eventually, where our mental well-being of persons in our community is of paramount importance. And I do agree with you. Kudos to those two officers of the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force who I understand were underseen and just worked selflessly to make sure that that young man was brought to shore safely. We truly appreciate you. Viewers, up next, the BVI Basketball Federation is set to take disciplinary actions following a physical dispute during a game over the weekend, and 234 persons vaccinated in the BVI and USVI initiative. We have all the details of this and so much more after a word from our sponsors. You're watching 284 News.
Welcome back, viewers. Well, the BVI Basketball Federation will be taking a no-tolerance stance following this weekend's altercation at a basketball game and will be instituting bans and suspensions following investigations into the matter. But this is according to the Federation's president, Derek Varlak, who told 284 News in an interview on Monday, September 20th, that his organization will be disciplining all parties involved in the incident, which took place on the night of Saturday, September 18th.
Without no policy, deal with the officials is a no-nonsense. We don't deal with players or even fans. Dealing with the official, causing threat to the official, even the federation members. And if a fan or even a player is seen on video or threatening an official or federation members, that I know that carry a lifetime ban. But the other incident with the federation, will have to sit down and look at the behavior, look at the seriousness of the crime, then we decide if we say, well, we ban you for the remainder of the year. And when we say we ban you for the remainder of the year, we don't mean just for the basketball federation banning you for in town, but the remainder of the year mean any organization with basketball, like the Save the Seed, the Virgin Islands, so you will ban for the calendar year, not for just the year or the tournament you're playing at that point in time, but actually for the whole calendar year. So, but what's going on now is like I say, we will have to sit down at the federation and see the seriousness of the crime, and then is when we're going to decide.
Well, viewers, President Varlak also said that the officials will be reviewing several videos taken on the night to gain more insight on what really transpired and the perpetrators behind the incident.
From the Federation point of view, we have a no-tolerance policy, and it is stated in our guidelines, and all the coaches, managers have a copy of our policies where we state that they should fight against suspension. Depends on our board decide how much time you can get, and then we go forward from there. But to actually say what happened, I really can't tell you what happened. All I know there was altercation on the court, and what we're doing now is we're looking at the videos to find out what really went wrong and deal with it from there.
Well, he also said that moving forward, he intends to request for more police presence at the games and assured residents not to be discouraged if interested in watching the games live at any of the venues.
In the incident, there wasn't nothing major to say that life-threatening or harmful, because, you know, basketball is a very contact sport and a very emotional sport, so those things are going to happen. But what we did, we actually asked the police for the police present, and we have got the security to check people coming into the door to make sure they're all right. But actually, what we really need a little bit more police present to the game, because basketball is a very intense and emotional sport, and we expect these things to happen. But we just try to minimize them, and we try to educate the fans about the behavior. We instead of having a policy where we tell the fans they'll be suspended from games, as the rude behavior that escalate, those kind of things. So going forward, we have put things in place. But like I said, basketball is a very, very emotional sport, and these things are expected.
Well, viewers, the altercation occurred during the deciding match between East Rockers of the 7th District and Guns of the 1st District, where the two teams were tied at 1 game apiece in the 3-game playoff series. Well, the continuation of that game is still to be determined. Around this was some very, as I usually say, concerning news. This is obviously over the weekend we would have seen some of the videos escalating across social media, where we would have seen participants, whether it be players and as well as fans, in a brawl over the weekend, where we would have seen the Honorable Dr. Natalia Wheatley also getting involved trying to park some of these patrons. And what it does in terms of the sport, it helps to discourage, when we see as fans and stuff, it helps to discourage us from wanting to attend these events in person when it comes to our safety. But as we see here, the president is reassuring persons, not to be alarmed. He was basically stating, as would have heard viewers, sometimes basketball, the emotions in basketball get to the best of the players, and it's a very emotional sport, and everyone wants to win. I don't know what would have started the escalation in terms of the brawl, but as he said, sometimes the emotions get the better of the players, and it was just probably a one-off situation where they're looking out to put more measures in place to have more police presence to minimize such events from occurring in the future.
Well, I do appreciate what Mr. Varlock said in regards to security, and I think outside of the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, any activity of such in the Virgin Islands, any sporting activity that is going to attract mass gatherings, particularly in this COVID era, I think organizers should mandate that there is some level of security outside of the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force. In a case like this, at the multi-purpose sports complex, of course, the close proximity to the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force in Roatan, I could understand them, requesting the police assistance, but outside of that, I think the bigger picture is moving forward for any organizers of sporting events, entertainment events, where large mass gatherings are going to be in place. I think for the benefit of all persons, security personnel should be contracted to ensure the safety of all concerned. Viewers, continuing on, the Minister of Health and Social Development, the Honorable Gordian Malone, has extended appreciation to the United States Virgin Islands for their collaboration on the vaccination bubble initiative that have resulted in some vaccinations of 234 persons. Now, 65 adults and 169 children were vaccinated in the initiative, which came to end last Thursday. Minister Malone said, and I quote, "On behalf of the government and people of the Virgin Islands, I extend heartfelt thanks to the government and people of the United States Virgin Islands for willingly and professionally providing and administering first, second, and third doses of the Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson vaccines to citizens and residents of the British Virgin Islands." He also thanked the BVI and USVI Vaccination Bubble Committee and, of course, the Acting Permanent Secretary and her team in the Ministry of Health and Social Development. The Honorable Malone witnessed the final round of vaccination with Lieutenant Governor of the U.S. Virgin Islands, Sir Tregenza A. Roach, and Assistant Commissioner of the VI Department of Health, Dr. Nicole Sims, and a number number of USVI and VI health professionals. He said the VI team was pleased to present gifts as a small token of appreciation. Officially, he said the BVI owes a debt of gratitude to the BVI USVI Vaccination Bubble Committee, the public officers, health professionals, and our many volunteers who worked tirelessly above and beyond to call the call of duty, that is, to assist and solicit, register, and accompany the many participants to and from St. John. Now, acknowledging that the pandemic is far from over, Minister Malone cautioned the community to stay vigilant. He said, and I quote, "The Delta variant continues to wreak havoc, and of course the world and a new and emerging Mu variant is on the radar. We do not know the disease, how the disease will affect you, but we do know that vaccination is the best tool," he says, along with following, of course, health protocols to keep our people safe, he said. Now, Kamal, quite an interesting number, that is, of persons being vaccinated within the USVI BVI bubble. I am surprised at the number. I would have hoped that with all the calls from Virgin Islanders and BVI Islanders to have a option for different vaccines, we would have seen an increase in the numbers. However, thankfully, some 234 persons have been vaccinated through that bubble. That program has now been completed, and I do appreciate the Honorable Minister for Health really commending and reaching out to the USVI as well as the Governor, Lieutenant Governor Tregenza Roach, and their team for really assisting in this method to really give persons who wanted to be vaccinated and who wanted the option of a different vaccine, and I do think we should be eternally grateful.
Indeed. And obviously the minister would have said during last week that he's a little disappointed regarding the numbers of persons coming forward.
Yes, dropped tremendously.
Well, viewers, up next, the BVI government not picking on any bars in the territory, says Minister Malone, and some sad news where Virgin Gordian Pilot Allister Pereria dies in a helicopter crash. We get to these stories when 284 News returns.
The wait is over. CCT Fire is here. Experience ultra-fast downloads, seamless streaming, and even more reliable connectivity on an all-new fire-blazing super-fast CCT Fiber network. CCT Fire. Bring it home and upgrade today.
Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
Well, thank you for staying with us, viewers. Well, Minister for Health and Social Development Gordian Malone has refuted claims that suggest that his government has been picking on bars within the territory. Well, the claims follow the recent development where 2 bars on Tortola were recently issued 2 $1,000 fines for breaches of the COVID-19 protocols and ordered to close.
We've had to issue like 2 fines, and the bars are saying that we're picking on them. We're not picking on them, really, because if we have 200 people in a crowded space, you're picking on yourself.
Yeah.
Because it is only in those circumstances that that the particular officials are lending themselves and opening themselves to all forms of challenges that will attain.
Well, Minister Malone also said that the bars who are in breach of these protocols are to blame for any repercussions suffered, as the atmosphere within these establishments are key to COVID-19 spikes in the territory.
You go to church, you go to all of the unsuspecting places of persons who then did not know what attained. Because if we're going to have the number of people being identified only when they're traveling, people identified as a contact of traces, and people identified in terms of local cases, then we have issues. We're going to have issues. We reported just not long ago that we had the Mu variant.
Yeah.
Other places in the Caribbean are saying that they have the Gamma variant. So the fact is that the more you allow this virus to actually stick around, especially in the unvaccinated persons, the more it mutates. So it's going down the Greek alphabet. Alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta, eta, theta, iota, kappa, lambda, mu.
That's right.
Well, there we go. So we way down the Greek alphabet.
Well, viewers, 284 News broke the news last weekend where it was reported that a bar in Seacoast Bay and another in Paraquita Bay were each fined for breaching social distancing COVID-19 protocols. Well, according to the Chief Environmental Health Officer Lionel Michael, these two bars, which were ordered to close as a result, would have to undergo training, new implementation measures, and inspections before being allowed to reopen. Well, Ron, here we heard the Minister, Honorable Malone, basically clearing the air because, as he would have spoken numerous times, you know, a lot of people feel like the government is picking on bars, and he would have refuted those claims.
All right, we're happy to hear from the Honorable Minister in this regard. Viewers, on to our last story, some very tragic news. Pilot Allister Pereria was among 3 who perished on Wednesday in a helicopter crash in Macon, Georgia. Now, Mr. Pereira, originally from Guyana, along with his family, migrated to Virgin Gorda, BVI, at a very young age and grew up on the sister island. He was well known in the Atlanta, Georgia area as a pilot. Close relatives confirmed his untimely death with our newsroom. We'd like to take this opportunity to extend condolences to the friends and family of Mr. Pereira, along with the entire Virgin Gorda community. It was the Telegraph out of the Georgia area that reported that there were no survivors in the crash of a helicopter with three people aboard that went down on Wednesday night in remote forests east of the Amaculi River, about 20 miles north of Macon, officials said on Friday. Law enforcement officials had been extremely tight-lipped, as can be imagined, about the crash for more than a day, but recently investigators from the National Transportation Safety Board in that area briefed reporters on what was known so far about the wreck. Officials from the Jasper County Sheriff's Office said early Friday afternoon that the victims' identities were again being withheld until families could be notified. The 3 victims, 2 pilots and a passenger, were aboard a chartered Robinson R-66 chopper that took off from the Thomasville in South Georgia near the Florida border about 6:40 p.m. on Wednesday. It was unclear where the helicopter was headed or whether it had made any stops before crashing into the national forest at about 8:45 p.m. Now, the crash site in rural Jasper County's Gladesville Creek really lies roughly 3 miles east of the river, 5 miles northwest of Juliet, and just south of Georgia Highway 83, which links the areas together. The aircraft crashed as heavy rain moved through the area. The cause of the wreck remained unknown, and investigators have begun their examinations as well as of investigations of a debris field that stretches some 125 feet. People who live in the vicinity of the crash site near Juliet Road, not far from a Baptist church, reported hearing low-flying aircraft around the time of the wreck. It was not known yet if the chopper pilot made a distress call. Air traffic control officials alerted authorities in the Jasper County that a helicopter had likely crashed not long after it vanished from the radar. An emergency transmitter on the aircraft helped rescuers zero in on its location in an area described by one official as all but inaccessible. Kamal, once we broke the story, of course, after receiving confirmation from a family, close family of Mr. Pereira, persons across social media, both in the Virgin Islands as well as in the Atlanta, Georgia area, really took to social media to offer their condolences and pay tribute to Mr. Pereira for his what they call stalwart professional services. Again, he has been known as one of the top pilots within the Atlanta, Georgia area, offering services of high standard to persons, and it is unfortunate. And again, we do wish our deepest condolences to the family and friends of Mr. Pereira, as well as the entire Virgin Gorda community.
Indeed, Ron, and this is what is believed the second pilot from Virgin Gorda to pass within the recent times. And we do wish the Virgin Gorda community, who will be mourning at this time, all the very best, and his family, as you said, in these difficult times. Well, viewers, that's it for today's news roundup. Be sure to follow us for daily news updates at 284media.com, and like us on Facebook at 284media and 284BVI on Instagram and Twitter. I'm Kamal Haynes.
And I'm Ron Grant. It is always a pleasure. Do have a happy Monday. Enjoy the rain, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.